Just about ready to kick off the show. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the New Media Production Studio. Stories tonight, we're going to lead off with Facebook can read your brainwaves. Is your car being tracked everywhere you go? Did you know there was more than $4 billion in cybercrime reported in 2020? And the NYPD seizes 55,000 phones, not all for crimes. I want to welcome you to episode 1514 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, March 18th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. And of course, you can find all my deals for GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show personally at geeknewscentral.com/insider. It's a great place to start a donation. I got a little bit of an update on the Insider podcast tonight as well. And I want to give a warm welcome to all brand new listeners of the show today. Thank you for being here, and make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. And when you're over there, get subscribed to the show. You can join our chat room at geeknews.chat. That's a Mastodon chat server. Or you can join us on Discord. And for the cool kids, if you want to, just request access to our Slack channel, and we'll get you in on our Slack channel. You can always contact me via email. Let's see if I can get the right screens up here. You can contact me via email. It's good to go. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, at Geek News on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. All the partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com. That includes the new media show, the Pro Gear Guru, the Gadget Professor, and of course, the GNC Week in Review, Podcast Legends, and of course, all our live shows are linked there as well. So definitely want to get you over on that. So this show is and has the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast, and that's our good friends at GoDaddy. GoDaddy's been a long-time sponsor here, and we've got lots of great deals with GoDaddy. All you got to do is, again, go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, and once you're on that page, well, actually, we'll see if it's going to update here. There it goes. You can go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy and save 30% off new product purchases. You can get a $4.99.com or newer transfer domains. You get $1 a month economy hosting for the first year of the free domain, or $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year, again, with a free domain. And a free trial of GoDaddy website builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. All these are available again at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. I want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here, of course, and taking care of the show. And anyway, glad to be back with you. It's a Thursday evening. It's cold here in southern Michigan. Winds blowing like 45 miles an hour, and so winter has not quite left us yet. I did get the internet speeds fixed. It kind of fixed itself. I came in the next morning after the show on Monday, and things were running at 450 meg download and 20 megs up. So it's been good ever since. So who knows what was going on there. And, you know, one thing that I've been working on and I've been talking about on this show since our 1500th edition is the new Insider podcast. So I've got all the users entered into the system. I still have one little thing I have to work out, and hopefully I'll get that done tomorrow. And knock on wood, everything's going to be good, and we'll launch this thing next week. And I'll be sending all of you that are contributors to the show or made major contributions to the show in one way or the other, in whatever, maybe album art or whatever, supported me at different events. You all will be obviously included in the on the Insider platform. So we're going to have an app for you to download. That's one option, Android or iOS, and I'm going to have the ability for you to access via a web app, public web app. You be able to give your credentials and log in, and be able to access the first episode of Insider. So, and of course, this goes along with our insider program at geeknesscentral.com/insider, where if you contribute $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month to the podcast or make an annual donation, you automatically become an insider and will get added to the Insider podcast. So, real close on that. But tonight I'm trying a little experiment. It doesn't look like it's, I've got the correct wire to feed the Rodecaster, and I've got all the cable interconnections made. You guys won't believe it, what I've done here to integrate, to be able to go on Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces and all these other new social audio platforms. So tonight I'm in a channel, or basically opened up a room on Clubhouse, and there's nobody there right now. So talking to myself in this channel, so it's okay. Just making sure all the tech works and we're good. But just another platform. We're streaming on 7 different locations. YouTube Live, we're on Twitch, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, on a couple of different places on Facebook. And, of course, we're on live stream as well. But most importantly, for those of you that listen to the show after the show, you guys don't really care, right? Because you come in and get the show when you want to, versus when I start the recording and start the show online. If you're on Facebook or on YouTube today, make sure you say hello. Of course, we're at live.geeknesscentral.com as well. But anyway, I'm going to get into the content here in a second. I'm ready for winter truly to be over here, and I don't know when that's going to happen. I was attempting, I was talking with family members here, and I said, when should I go get my snow tires, removed? And my mom was like, I think you should wait just a little bit longer because, we've had snowstorms here all the way up until the end of March. So that's the plan. I'll wait till the end of March and then go get my snow tires taken off and have my regular rubber on my vehicle. But anyway, I hope this finds you all well. I'm doing good. Staying busy. I mean, actually, I've got so much to do. Have you ever got to the point where you've got so much to do that you almost go into like vapor lock? I guess that's the way I like to describe it. I had a little bit of that here recently where it's just, geez, I've had so much stuff on my plate. And it's going to be I'm going to work probably all weekend. I got a whole bunch of shipping left to do. It's crazy. So that's the life here. All right, let's go ahead and get into the tech content. Got a good lineup of stuff for you tonight. Kirk did a good job on the show prep. They dig a little bit deeper today because the news has been a little slow. But first things up is Facebook is saying they're reading your brainwaves. And this is quite a headline. The subtitle of this headline says, I can't emphasize this enough. This cannot read your brain. Facebook executive Andrew Bosworth told BuzzFeed News. Well, what are they doing? Exactly. Facebook is working on a new neural wristband that can read electrical signals sent to your hands and send them to an augmented reality interface. Essentially, a bracelet lets you type without a keyboard, potentially without even moving your fingers or controlling something on a soon-to-be-released AR glass. It seems that Facebook, after years of harvesting data on your marketing possibilities, is finally starting to be able to read your mind, although Facebook denies that. He says he compared the wrist device to a computer keyboard. A keyboard doesn't read your thoughts, but it takes your motor inputs and makes and turns them into expression. We know in 2019, Facebook acquired Control Labs, a neural interface startup that had been working on this kind of wearable device for several years. And the wearable wrist device has a potential to complement augmented reality glasses and other VR tech. So interesting to see what this could be, what they imagine. For those of you that are watching, and I'll try to talk this through for those of you listening, is imagine you having a set of glasses on with a wristband, and you can open your palm of your hand, and they will place a graphic over the top of your hand. It's maybe like a volume control or a switch that you would be able to turn on, turn off, make volume control changes really from a projection that's put on your hand, and then the movement of your wrists and your muscles and this neural memory would cause whatever action they're trying to do happen. And it could be, again, turning on the lights, turning down the volume, actually typing. So we'll see what kind of craziness this develops into. But one way or the other, they're going to figure out how to make money on us, and we'll have to watch that as it goes. But anyway, that's what's going on with Facebook and some of their investment, being able to read your brain waves, sort of, I guess. Next article up, one company wants to sell the feds location data for every car on the planet. We know that federal agencies already buy tons of user data. We know that one vendor is being sued. But there's a strange sort of symmetry in the world of personal data. One new report has identified a company that wants to sell the U.S. government granular car location data from basically every vehicle in the world. Well, a group of privacy advocates is suing another company for providing customer data to the feds. This surveillance company called Ulysses says they can remotely geolocate vehicles in nearly every country except for North Korea and Cuba on a near real-time basis. Ulysses obtains vehicle telematics data from embedded sensors and communication sensors. It can transmit information such as seatbelt status, engine temperature, current vehicle location back to automakers or other parties. Among the thousands of other data points, vehicle location data is being transmitted on a constant and near real-time basis while the vehicle is operating. The company wrote in a sales pitch documented attained by Vice. As roughly 100 million new cars are manufactured worldwide each year that are increasingly connected to the manufacturer, other vehicle infrastructure, and their owners, it becomes apparent that telematics will be revolutionizing intelligence collection. Ulysses claims it can currently access more than 15 billion vehicle locations around the world every month, and it estimates by 2025, 100% of new vehicles or new cars will be connected and transmitting gigabytes of collected data per hour. Now, I can't even tell you how scary this is. And if you're thinking that you're not being tracked already, I bet you if you start reading into the fine print of your connected vehicles, they probably are. At the same time, could be an intelligence bonanza. Let's say you know that Joe Terrorist is driving a certain vehicle, and you use this company to track that vehicle's location. It might be just the tipper needed to be able to drop a bomb on a terrorist head. Well, at the same time, it can be used for very scary reasons too. So it's stated, though, that Ulysses does not currently have any contracts with the U.S. government, but has worked in the past with other groups, specifically the U.S. Special Operations Command. That's interesting. And that's very, very interesting. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So if they do snag a federal contract, it would join a long line of other firms that sell personal user data to the government. The Secret Service, Immigration, Customs Enforcement, and the IRS all purchase cell phone location data that might otherwise require a warrant. Customs and Border Patrol also buys license plates reader data. The agency that purchased data have contracts to access database maintained by brokers that collect information from a wide variety of sources. And of course, the Washington Post reported last month that ICE also purchased access to a database chock full of consumer information to track immigrants. The database ICE used, Clear, includes more than 400 million phone, water, electricity, and other utility documents the agency would otherwise not have been able to access on its own. Whereas a coalition of privacy advocates in California is now suing Thomson Reuters, which operates Clear, alleging that it violates state privacy laws by collecting and sharing personal information without individuals' consent. Senator Wyden has been holding some hearings on this. And, he's often advocated for privacy issues. Apparently is doing an ongoing investigation of the sale of personal data. We'll see where this goes. But I'm going to tell you, there's not much privacy left anymore, especially with all our connected vehicles and they're being able to be tracked. It's pretty crazy. On top of that, more than $4 billion in cybercrime losses reported to the FBI in 2020. That's a lot of money. American victims reported $4.2 billion in losses as a result of cybercrime and internet fraud, a roughly 20% uptick in the money known to be lost to scammers in 2019. There were roughly 2,000 complaints a day through 2020. The Bureau says it received an average of 1,200 complaints per day in 2019. But now, ransomware attacks and widespread technology support scams, this is where someone from Pakistan calls you, or India, and says, hey, I'm Microsoft Technical Support. I'm here to help you. I need you to load remote viewing software on your computer, and I want to access and fix your machine. Meanwhile, they're going to try to charge you a lot of money and get into your bank account, potentially drain your bank account, potentially scam you by making you go buy Google Play cards. Yes, people are falling for this all the time. You need to talk to your adult parents. You need to talk to your grandparents and make sure they understand that anyone that ever asks them to go get cards, Google Play cards, like that type of thing, it's a scam and they're being ripped off. But $4.2 billion in losses in 2020. It's simply insane. In one case involving an unnamed victim, the FBI learned of a wire transfer of $60 million that was marked to be moved to a Hong Kong bank account. Ultimately, the financial move was blocked after the FBI alerted the legal attaché of Hong Kong, the Hong Kong bank, and other partners, the Bureau said, resulting in the money being returned to the victim. $60 million. Someone almost got scammed out of $60 million. Ransomware victims accounted for 2,747 complaints in 2020, totaling $29.1 million. Ransomware is also unbaited through the pandemic, striking at least 80 medical providers. A single ransomware attack against Universal Health Services, an American health care provider that occurred in September, resulted in an estimated loss of $67 million. Technology sports scams result in losses of $146 million, a 171% increase. And listen to me, at least 66% of the victims were over 60 years old. So these are run out of call scam centers, not support centers, call scam centers, mostly run out of India. Calcutta is the biggest place where these types of scams happen. And they call you and they social engineer you out of your money. It's really, truly incredible. So be careful. Please, please, please. Let's take care of our elderly and know that no one's going to call them. And if you've got someone that's not elderly that falls for one of these things, smack them side the head. If they haven't already lost their money. Yeah, I'm going to take the cash and wrap it up in tin foil and then send it via FedEx to California. That's the thing to do. That's one of the scams. They have people put cash, large amounts of cash, wrap it in aluminum foil to beat the scanners from FedEx so they don't see the bundles of money, and send it across the country to some person that's acting as a go-between that's been paid a few $100s to take the package, and then it goes off and is forever gone. So the stuff just continues to roll on. Now, appears to be a different kind of thief as well. The NYPD seized 55,000 cell phones last year. Most likely due to the pandemic, this number is actually markedly lower than the roughly 92,000 phones they seized in 2019. But another apparent consequence of the COVID era is that fewer people jumped through the regulatory hoops necessary to get their phones back, meaning police kept nearly 40% of the phones taken in 2020. And here's the crazy part. Now we understand if you're slinging drugs or something and you get your phone seized, that's part of that's what's happening. But as the report notes, nearly 85% of all seizures performed by the NYPD were not related to any criminal charges against the person whose phone had been taken. One lawyer pointed out that the NYPD officer took a shooting victim's phone from them while they were recovering at the hospital, claiming they needed it for evidence. And the person had to jump through lots of hoops to get his phone back. The city previously required claimants to present two forms of ID in order to get their property back, even if the police had seized the owner's driver's license. So there's all kinds of things that's been going on here. People have been caught in a catch-22 situation. And there's really not a lot that people can do from people just taking people's phones. Just like civil forfeiture, seizing property under the pretense it's needed as evidence directly benefits the NYPD. The 21,000 unclaimed phones that New York City took from citizens last year will wind up being auctioned. And it's not like the NYPD needs that money. Those proceeds wouldn't even put a dent in the $10.9 billion the city spent last year to fund the police force. But they're going to sell 21,000 phones that they had no reason to be holding on to. Now, some of those were probably seized because of a crime. It's 15%, according to this report. But it doesn't make you go, just a little bit. It really, really does. Well, I can't say that I'm not surprised. Google's plan to block third-party cookies has drawn the attention from the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice reportedly scrutinizing Google's plans to block third-party tracking cookies in Chrome and stop targeting ads based on individual browsing history. According to a Reuters source, the agency is looking to whether the move to a more anonymized form of ad targeting will harm smaller advertising networks, and they're all going to say yes. They're going to buy right into this and tell the DOJ that the sky is falling. Investigators have been asking ad industry executives about the shift, according to the report, including questions about how changes to the way Chrome handles cookies will impact the advertising and news sectors. They are seemingly curious as to whether Google is putting itself in a position to gather data about users while preventing other ad companies from doing so. Well, yes. People want their information to stay private as they browse the web, a Google spokesperson told Engadget in a statement. That's why we're working in partnership with the industry through Privacy Sandbox on privacy-preserving alternatives to third cookies that support the free and open internet. And as we've said, we will not replace third-party cookies with alternative methods to track individuals across the web. So we'll see. Now, the line of inquiry may not lead to legal action, but there's a chance that the DOJ could join an antitrust lawsuit from several states over Google's plans to introduce a privacy sandbox to Chrome. UK regulators are also investigating privacy sandbox. Because remember, when the government can't track you as well, it's an issue, right? So we'll see. Yes, we will see. For those of you listening, had to take a shot of Red Bull. Monopoly, yes, the game wants your help in updating its community chess cards. Owners, Hasbro, is looking to bring the cards into the 21st century with inputs from players. Of course, one of the community chess cards we've probably all seen is where it says doctor's fee, pay $50. Maybe that'll be raised to doctor's fee, pay $5,000. That might be the real kicker. to the change to Monopoly. But they say they're going to change all 16 of its community chest cards. Customers around the world can help decide what the new cards will be by voting at MonopolyCommunityChest.com. So maybe they're going to present some new options, and you just get to vote. Amazon Ring launches 3 new outdoor security gadgets. The outside of your Ring-powered smart home might get a little smarter thanks to the company's new outdoor smart plug, motion light, and siren. So this is one thing a lot of this smart stuff has been lacking, is a lot of outdoor type of equipment. So Google is saying the smart home doesn't have to end at the front door. Ring seems to be sending, Amazon, not Google. This is Amazon. The Amazon-owned company started taking pre-orders last week for 3 new gadgets: an outdoor smart plug, a motion-activated outdoor light that's solar-powered, and an outdoor siren. Now, hey, Simply Safe, can you get me an outdoor siren and light? I think that would be cool. I would buy those 2 accessories. So if you're bought into the Amazon Ring ecosystem, there you go. Remember Wall Street Bets? Well, Wall Street Bets donated more than $350,000 to a gorilla charity to prove apes together strong. It's part of their meme. Apes Together Strong is one of the mottos of Reddit's Wall Street Bets community. Now members of the financial subreddit are making good on one of their favorite memes by donating $350,000 to charity supporting gorillas in the wild. And so awesome what they've done there. They took their money they earned from GameStop and helping save gorillas. So anytime you can hurt venture, these hedge fund operators, is a good thing in my opinion. So I know some people got in a little bit late on some of that deal and may have lost some money, but that's what happens when you play in the stock market. Flesky co-founder is suing Apple over lost revenue resulting from App Store scammers. Kostya Elefantor, oh my goodness, a co-founder of Flesky, the keyboard app, which later sold to Pinterest in an acquihire deal, has been calling attention to Apple App Store issues. And it basically is fake apps, apps where they're doing, or people are doing scamming on the ratings and a whole bunch of stuff. And he's basically going to go and sue Apple for basically allowing this activity continue. He alleges that Apple enticed developers to build applications for its App Store, the only place iOS applications can be legally sold, by claiming it's a safe and trustworthy place, but doesn't protect legitimate app developers against scammers profiting from their hard work. What's more, the suit says Apple de-incentivized to do so because scammers are generating revenue for Apple via the use of subscriptions, which involves a revenue share with Apple. And he talks about his impact, and so he's taking Apple to court. We'll see where this one goes, and good luck to him in trying to fight that behemoth. The federal government is investigating yet another Tesla autopilot crash. One happened right here in Michigan, up in Lansing, when the driver of a Tesla Model Y, ka-ching, smashed into a state trooper cruiser. Michigan police said the driver was using autopilot, Tesla's advanced driver assistance system, at the time of the crash. No one was injured, but the government sent investigators to the scene. Let me tell you something about Lansing area roads and the lines on the roads. They suck. There's a section of 69. It's so rough. I would almost rather drive on a dirt road for about 30 miles and drive down this very, very bad section of highway. So I'm not surprised that there was a crash of a Tesla in and around Lansing. Of course, the whole state of Michigan has got huge road issues to begin with. So anyway, that's a story for another day. This next story I just absolutely love. AT&T. This can happen to a better company. AT&T is lying about California net neutrality laws, calling its bans free data. AT&T is angry that it must stop charging HBO Max rivals for data cap exemption. So you know that what they've done is AT&T and its AT&T's own HBO Max was exempt from data caps. In California, the way the law reads now, if you give data exemption to one service, you have to give it to them for all. Because AT&T was charging those companies a premium to not so people could use their apps and not impact their data usage. So again, it's sponsored data program in which it charges other companies for similar exemptions. Well, if they weren't charging HBO Max and they were giving it the data cap exemption for free to them, by law, by California law, they had to give it to everyone else. And AT&T says, well, we're not going to do that. Everyone's going to have to pay. So it's kind of interesting. And again, it's part of an anti-competitive, well, AT&T's been running an anti-competitive scheme by giving preferential treatment to one of its media properties. California's net neutrality law doesn't ban all zero rating. It bans anti-competitive forms of zero rating. Stanford law professor Barbara Van Schweck, who supported California in its court defense of net neutrality law does ban AT&T's anti-competitive scheme where it counts almost everything people do on the internet, including watching Twitch, Netflix, and their home security cameras against their data cap, but doesn't count the data cap from AT&T's own video services. This is the kicker. So the law doesn't ban AT&T from launching a program where it zero-weights all online video or all video chat conferencing calls, which might be hugely popular in the pandemic. In that case, the California Attorney General would retain the right to ensure such a program are actually open to all applications. So AT&T is just pissed, and you're going to suffer more data usage, but basically there isn't going to be this competitive advantage for HBO Max because AT&T owns the data lines and the towers and everything else that goes along with your mobile business. Coca-Cola. I love an ice cold ice. You take a glass, you fill it full of ice, you get yourself either a can of Coke or a 16 point. You just get yourself a Coke, pour that into that ice. Man, there's almost nothing better from a refreshment standpoint. I know, lots of sugar, but oh my God, is it fantastic. An ice cold Coke, right, on a hot day. Just like just as good as a cold beer. Well, Coca-Cola is launching a vending machine subscription in Japan. Coke On Pass gets you a drink per day. Now, vending machine business in Japan is at a whole different level. I remember being in Tokyo and being on base and where I could go to a vending machine and get a beer. Yes, a vending machine delivering me a beer or iced coffee. They have vending machines that have a cold side and a hot side. So you can get iced coffee or hot coffee. You can get their vending machines are incredible. And every corner, every street, every store all had vending machines. And you can use your phone to pay. You've been able to use your phone to pay for something out of a vending machine for years, and they got vending machines for everything. Well, since the pandemic, where vending machines offered everything from snacks and toys to pet food and beer, the pandemic has plummeted vending machine sales by over 35% as people are forced indoors away from crowded city centers. In a bid to lure back customers, Nikkei, which is a newspaper, reports that Coca-Cola is readying a subscription option via its Coke On smartphone app that lets you grab one drink per day for 2,700 yen, or about $25 per month, from 340,000 vending machines. Now, that's a lot of carbonated sugar water for one person, but Coke does offer other drinks. Unsweetened tea, black coffee. Man, I'm going to tell you, there are some coffee offerings there that are iced coffees. I can get some of them here in the United States, have them shipped in. Amazon, some vendors carry them that have Asian food stores. Wow. Unsweetened tea, again, fantastic. So the new Coke On Pass services launches May with a promotional offer of 1,350 yen to get more people using the app, which had 25 million downloads as of January. Smart. And the vending machines are used. I mean, get a beer. Get a beer out of a vending machine. Where do you see that? A vending machine on the street where you don't have to show an ID. You just put your money in and get a beer. Yep. Don't worry about being 21 and showing that ID card. Just hit the vending machine. Spotify says over 13,000 artist catalogs earned at least $50,000 in royalties last year. The company's making an effort to be more transparent. So check this out. 13,400 artists earned $50,000 in royalties. 7,800 earned $100,000 in royalties, and 870 artists received at least $1 million in royalties. But check this out. The site also includes a calculator so artists can see where their works rank, like how a song with 100,000 all-time streams would only be in the top 2.7 million tracks on the platform. The company says it's paid $5 billion this year as compared to 5.5 billion in 2020, which is up from 3.3 billion in 2017. But there's 1.2 million artists with over 1,000 listens on the platform. So still a very small number. 1.2 million artists, but only 13,400 made at least 50,000 in royalties. So tough. Music business is very, very hard. Amazon Fire TV's free new app now boasts stations in 88 cities. Watch local news from Detroit, Phoenix, New Orleans, Salt Lake City, and Orlando. So this is a news app. And today it's ramping up its coverage across 88 cities with more than 120 channels, providing with regional divisions of ABC, CBSN, Tegna, Cox, the EW Scripps Company, and Altus USA in a bid to cater to a larger portion of the news-watching public. The new areas include Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, Phoenix, Las Vegas, New Orleans, Orlando, Fayetteville, Fresno, Fort Myers, Grand Rapids, Great Falls, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Knoxville, Lafayette, Memphis, Nashville, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, Portland, Salt Lake City, San Antonio, San Diego, St. Louis, Tucson, Tulsa, Orlando, and Washington, D.C. Although it doesn't match the 275 news stations on the long-running News On app, which is also available on Fire TV along with Roku. I didn't even know about that. So check out News On, 275 news stations. So I guess if you want to get your news, you can get your News On. Sounds like for free. Hey, Mike. Hi, Liz. Hey, Rick. Thanks for joining the party tonight. Twitter begins testing a way to watch YouTube videos from the home timeline on iOS. Why? Why? Just if there's someone linking to a YouTube video on Twitter, just let me load it in the YouTube app. According to a new post on Twitter support account, the company will today start testing a new way to watch YouTube videos directly from your home timeline within the Twitter iOS app. Okay. Desperate times call for desperate measures. The NFL has finalized its new... Has anybody watched the NFL? The NFL finalizes new 11-year media rights deal. Amazon gets exclusive Thursday night rights. The new agreement runs through 2033. Will feature 2 Super Bowls returning to Disney's ABC network. Amazon is paying $1 billion a year. Viacom, CBS, Fox, and Comcast are all, which owns NBC Universal, are all paying more than $2 billion a year for their packages, while Disney, which owns ESPN and ABC, will pay around $2.7 billion annually, which all told over the 11-year agreement will bring $100 billion to the NFL. And they still have all their pay-per-view and all that stuff that you can do by the NFL ticket and all that. So you all love your football. That's some serious dinero. Facebook is removing any posts celebrating the Atlanta attack or the suspected shooter, as probably they should. The social network has designated attack a violating event. Facebook said it will remove any post that celebrates a recent shooting in Atlanta or support the suspected shooter. We know that 8 people were killed in the attack. 7 of the victims of the shooting were women, and 6 of them were Asian descent. This guy went into massage parlor, a couple of massage parlors, and just did mayhem. So that's not surprising action by Facebook. All right, I know we got a few BMW fans here on the show, and I don't think I could ever afford a BMW, but the new BMW offers a first look as its production i4 electric sedan, and it's got a humongous grille. I don't know why. And this sedan will essentially be an electric take on the 3 Series with similar styling and dimension. BMW has also announced it will launch an M Performance version of the i4, also set to release in 2021. The i4 looks much like the 2021 BMW 3 Series model, I bet with slightly cleaner lines. Does it say how much it's going to cost? BMW didn't show the interior of the car and only shared some of the specs. The i4 will be available in different configurations, up to 530 horsepower, in other words, 390 kilowatts from a single motor. 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. Not Model S territory, but still very respectable. In insanity mode or whatever they call it. The i4 is supposed to have up to an 80 kilowatt battery, which should be good for 300 miles. No indication of price. So I'm just about ready to go over 30,000 miles on my vehicle that's less than 2 years old. Absolutely crazy. McAfee says, not John McAfee, the company McAfee. McAfee, the company, says Chinese attackers targeted Asian and U.S. telcos. Security vendor McAfee has detected an attack that it believes was likely aimed at telecom companies, Opus stealing information related to 5G. And guess who it came from? The Chinese. Should it come as any surprise? All they do is steal. They just steal intellectual property. They have no ability to create stuff on their own. So they just steal everything they can steal. And it's the way it is, and the way it probably will continue to be for a long, long time. Motorola is trying that you're... All right, this is funny. You know, some of you are using your iPad as a computer. You know, some of you are using a keyboard, you're using, Google Docs, that kind of stuff. But Motorola is trying that your phone can be a PC thing again. Ready for is the company's take on Samsung's DeX for Edge Plus users. After a decade after the failed Atrix 4G laptop dock, Motorola has taken another stab at turning a phone into your computer. By the way of an Android 11 update, Edge Plus users on Verizon can now connect the handset to a bigger screen, but Motorola hopes you'll use it for everything from editing work documents and making video calls to playing Fortnite or a cloud gaming service. The new Ready For platform uses a multi-window interface. So anyway, that's what's going on. Hey, thanks for joining on TikTok. We're doing a live show here. No interaction, but if you want to watch me live, you can go to live.geeknewscentral.com. We're streaming video live there right now for Barack that joined us on Clubhouse. Again, a little experiment to see how this works. Google, Google's produced a pretty good article about investing in America in 2021. And Sundar has an opening statement on it. But I think the screen that really kind of made me go, wow, was, for those of you watching, was this one. So Google has offices, data centers, and some new locations and investments in, of course, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Texas, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois. Well, I'm getting my states screwed up here. Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, one more, and Louisiana. So it's just they're in a lot of states, and they're going to do new investment. It looks like in North Carolina and in Illinois and Texas, but they're all over the place. And I know that Google has a big data center in Columbus. They hire a lot of people in Columbus, a lot of programmers. So Google is just a big machine. It's everywhere. So they're investing in offices. They're expanding data centers. They're creating a more economic impact. They're building a brand new, just like Apple did, a brand new campus in Mountain View, California. But they're expanding in South Carolina, in Minnesota. That's the state I missed. But that's a pretty amazing footprint. And I'm sure they've got little minor stuff all over the place as well. All right, next up, Amazon will expand its Amazon Care on-demand healthcare offering U.S.-wide this summer. So apparently it's pretty pleased how its Amazon Care pilot in Seattle has gone since it's announced this morning of expanding offering across the U.S. And it's opening up to companies of all sizes. In addition to its own employees, the Amazon Care model combines on-demand and in-person care and is meant as a solution for the search giant to address shortfalls in current offerings for employee-sponsored healthcare. In a blog post announcing expansion, Amazon touted the spread of access to care made possible for its employees and families via the remote chat and video-based features of Amazon Care. These are facilitated via a dedicated Amazon Care app, which provides direct live chats via nurse-doctor. Issues that then require in-person care are handled via a house call. So a medical professional is actually sent to the home to take care of things like administering blood tests or doing a chest exam, and prescriptions are delivered to your door as well. So as of today, Amazon Care is expanding its home state of Washington to begin serving other companies. The idea is that others will sign on and make Amazon Care part of an overall benefits package for employees. In other words, companies like mine. Amazon's touting as a major strength of the service, the speed advantage of testing service, including results delivery for things such as for important things, including COVID-19. This in-person care option is pretty appealing. It really, really is. So I don't know how much this will cost. There's no idea. Probably just like any other insurance plan. But maybe it's not actually insurance. It's something a little bit different. I definitely want to find out more information on that. T-Mobile customers are getting a free Pandora app that features the Sirius XM content. It becomes available on March 23rd. So, if you Sirius XM, if you pay for that for a year, so it's going to feature Sirius XM content. Doesn't say it's going to give you. I think Sirius XM. I got a trial of it for my car for the first year. I didn't renew it. I think it was like $149 or something like that a year. But Sirius XM has owned Pandora since 2018, but I've seen content from the two brands overlap. That's about to change thanks to a new joint promotion between Sirius and T-Mobile starting March 23rd. The carrier offer customers a new and enhanced version of Pandora app that includes ad-free weekend listening through March 2022 and Top Tracks hubs powered by Sirius XM. So you're not going to get everything. You're not going to get Stern on this. It doesn't appear. But we'll just have to, for those of you that have a T-Mobile account, this is another freebie by T-Mobile. They keep, doing that kind of stuff. It's cool. This is good news. The FCC has fined 2 Texas telemarketers $225 million for making 1 billion robocalls. I think I got 500,000 of those myself. It's the largest fine in the agency's history. This is fantastic. This is fantastic news. They ran 2 companies that illegally spoofed other companies to try and sell people on short-term insurance plans, claiming they were from well-known providers like Cigna. Oh, I didn't get one of those. One of the people involved in the scheme admitted making millions of robocalls per day, even going so far as to go out of his way to call numbers on the do not call list because he believed it would be more profitable to do so. According to the FCC, a large portion of the more than 23.6 million health insurance robocalls that crossed U.S. Wire's network in 2018 came from Rising Eagle, one of the 2 companies 2 telemarketers are now. The question is, are they really going to ever get this money? Are they going to be able to do this? how do you, if they don't have the money, how do you get the money? Because between 2005 and 2019, the FCC had ordered violators of the Telephone Consumer Protection Act to pay $208.4 million in penalties. By the end of the period, get this, the agency had only collected $6,700. So, they issued the fine, but will they ever get the money? Will they ever, how do you get money out of someone that has any money? A teenage Twitter Bitcoin hacker will spend 3 years in prison. This 17-year-old, Graham Ivan Clark, has pled guilty to 30 charges. The teenage hacker, authorities accused of being the mastermind behind the infamous Twitter Bitcoin hack last year, has pleaded guilty to 30 charges. As part of the deal, he'd agreed to serve a 3-year prison sentence at a juvie facility. According to the New York Times and Tampa Bay Times, he was classified as a youthful offender on Florida's law, allowing him to avoid a minimum of 10 years that he would have gotten as an adult. Clark was arrested in July of 2020 when he was still 17 years old, along with 2 other individuals, a couple weeks after the Twitter hack that took over multiple high-profile accounts. So he's not going to be on a computer screen very much anytime soon. So, all that talent used to do bad, you do the crime, you got to do the time. And that's 17 to 20. Be locked up in a juvie facility from 17 to 20. Of course, what do? They transfer him to a adult facility once he turns 18? How does that work? But, man, oh man, just such a waste. Samsung say it may skip the Galaxy Note this year. Samsung Electronics co-CEO said there's a severe imbalance in global chip supply. Yeah, they're not making anything right now. Go to the grocery store. You can see that. And they're having a problem getting chips. So that's going to delay a phone. That's amazing, isn't it? It's not surprising Apple dominated the wearables market over the holidays. Watch and AirPod sales were up 25% over last year. The wearable Q4 2020 grew by 27%. The company shipped 36.2% of all devices during the period, compared to just 8.8 and 8.5% of its nearest rivals, Xiaomi and Samsung. Much of that came from a 45% increase in Apple Watch shipments, along with a boost in AirPod sales, regular, Pro, and Max. I'm still using my regular original Apple AirPod is fine. I have not had to upgrade. I'm lucky enough I haven't lost it. So Huawei fell to 4th place, of course, after Apple, Xiaomi, and Samsung due to U.S. sanctions. And so not surprising there that Huawei took a hit. So now when you open your phone, you just look at your phone, right? And Face Unlock works pretty good. But a proposed Face Unlock system would let you access your device with a wink. The identity verification algorithm requires you to record a facial action and upload it to your device. So the researchers created a 2-factor authentication system for facial recognition that uses face gestures. Now, what's that means? Because people are getting their phones unlocked while they're asleep, such as a wink, lip movement to unlock a device. BYU professor DJ Lee touts his new identity verification algorithm as more secure than current facial biometrics. The system, known as concurrent 2-factor identity verification, requires you to record a short video of an action using your face, which can also include reading a unique phrase. You then upload the clip to your device for input and authorization, with the system then requiring both your face and the gesture for verification. Interesting move. I just wanted to unlock and get access to it. The new Apple Maps can now help you find a COVID-19 vaccine. You can search in Apple Maps or ask SIRI to pull up info on vaccine sites near you. I need to do that for this county to see exactly what's available, because there's not a lot available where I live. But definitely going to look at this, and maybe now we can find out where all the vaccines are available in my little country county that I live. YouTube Shorts arrives in the U.S. to take on TikTok, but the beta is still half-baked, rolling out to everyone in the U.S. over the next several weeks. So YouTube Shorts to compete with TikTok. I'm going to be honest with you. I like TikTok. I told you, I keep telling you, I keep finding all news items I don't find anywhere else. And it follows your likes. So you have to be careful on TikTok. You can get really down in the weeds. So you got to stay, if you see a couple, 2, 3 things that are kind of cool, but you don't want to see it anymore, don't like those. Just keep flipping, and it'll kind of get itself back on track. It definitely has a tendency to run home to mama on the type of content that it gives you, and also the people you follow. The key really is not to do too much following on TikTok as a way to try to beat the algorithms, to stay in stuff you want, or search for certain topics as well. Apple warns Chinese apps not to dodge its new privacy rules. Chinese are testing multiple workarounds to keep tracking iPhones without prompting for consent. This is a cat and mouse game that's begun between Apple and Chinese tech companies. Apple is expected to roll out the change to iPhones in the spring that will give users more privacy. The change will force apps to ask permission before collecting tracking data, and basically there's a huge problem in China because tech companies have to track people. They track them without consent because the government requires them to track people without their consent. On Thursday, Apple fired preemptive warnings to at least 2 Chinese apps, telling them cease and desist after naming a dozen parameters such as set device name that could be used to create a unique identifier for the user's device. They say, we found that your app collects user and device information to create a unique identifier for the user's device, reads a screenshot of a warning to one developer who was using a new way of identifying users called CAID, which was developed by the state-backed Chinese Advertising Association. In other words, the Chinese Spying Association. Its guidelines suggest an update must be compliant with App Store review guidelines within 14 days, or your app will be removed from sale. So, Apple clearly has a technical capability to deny the existence of apps in their ecosystem which perform activities intended to uniquely identify people and track their behavior outside of Apple's walled garden. Well, Apple wants to know, but it doesn't want anyone else to know what its users are doing. So good on Apple for taking the fight to these Chinese tech companies that are doing their best to track their citizens and those of us that use Chinese apps. So there's a good article on how CAD works, and if Apple's going to stop this in its tracks, then that's a good thing. And those signals may not make it back to the Chinese government. All right, so just about here at the end of the show today, and I want to see if I got to go to my email and double check and see if I've got any comments that have come in. I did get an email from... Okay, so some of you had trouble getting the show last episode. It was delayed. Well, I did a WordPress update, and somehow, this is the first time ever this happened, I use... even though I use our Blueberries PowerPress plugin, obviously I do because I'm the founder of the company. I use another plugin to create basically a static feed. So it's not dynamically generated each time. And the permissions in my server got changed somehow that wouldn't allow the overwriting of that file. So the show was delayed about 12 hours in getting out. So I apologize about that. So Michael, thanks for giving me the heads up. Michael Dare also 2 or 3 of you sent me information. And, Michael said, Todd, I got the newsletter below. I see the link is live on your website, but in Overcast, the feed only showed episode 1512. Well, yep, that was something, and this was something new. We'll keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't happen again on the next update. But, so that was why the show was late on Tuesday. So again, apologize about that. But otherwise, we're going to wrap the show up here, everyone. Thanks for being here again. Definitely want you to support the sponsor, and you can do so by going over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy and basically use one of those promo codes. Pick up a domain name, pick up a web hosting account. Those web hosting account deals are the best. $1 a month for the first year, including a free domain. GeekNewsCentral.com/GoDaddy. For those of you insiders, yes, finally, the insider program is coming. Like I said earlier, your names have all been inputted into the system. Probably over the weekend, you'll be getting an email with your logins and the links to both the Apple and the Android app so that you can access the private podcasts that I'm going to be putting up on the Blueberry private internal podcasting platform that you'll all be able to have, all of you insiders will be able to have access to. So, anyway, that's all I've got today. Starlink has not delivered yet. I'm waiting. Probably be June. But I'll be back with you on Monday for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. If you want to join me on Saturday, we'll be doing the new media show. And I think we're actually going to be doing it on Clubhouse on Saturday. So if you got a Clubhouse account, and I apologize, Clubhouse is not yet put together an Android device. I don't know what their problem is over there. So it's still strictly limited to the to iOS, and hopefully they get that fixed soon. But Twitter Spaces is available for both iOS and Android. So I've yet to do any more experimenting on that, and I need to do so as well. But hey, everyone, thanks for being here. Again, if you're not subscribed, get over to geeknewscentral.com. Subscribe to the show. Thank you very much for being here. Subscriber, follow. That's the new word. And now I got to unravel and shut down all these live streams. But I noticed a couple of people came into Clubhouse. So, Rob, you've been hanging out. And Barack, thanks for listening. I'm going, because this is not designed, at least this episode, to have a conversational type thing that Clubhouse normally does, I'm going to shut the room down. But thanks for hanging out with me. I definitely appreciate it. And Rob, you can tell the cable is working that I received from Amazon. So, all right, everyone, take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geek News Central podcast. Be safe. Take care. We'll see you back on Monday. Bye-bye.